homework, detention, swirlies. There are lots of reasons why someone may not want to put their kids in a typical schooling environment, and there are lots of reasons why kids themselves hate school, especially if they live in the US. Maybe not the worst education system in the world, but we sure are gunning for it with all those.
We're 16 seconds in and she made a school shooting joke. Oh, God.
Reasons, it can make sense that someone may want to try out alternative schooling methods, the most popular being probably online schooling, which is something that a lot of people became familiar with in 2020. With online assignments and Zoom classes, it makes pretending to do algebra while playing Animal Crossing much easier. Then of course you have homeschooling, where your parents get to decide whether you're a dumb kid with no friends or a smart kid with no friends. But recently I found out there's a third option.
So we don't teach our children anything. Everything that they learn is in response to either their interests or their questions. We have no curriculum, we have no school hours. We really just respond whenever they want to know something and do our best to make sure they really get it.
Free schooling.
That is so fucking stupid for so many reasons, because what if your kid just doesn't want to learn anything? What if they're just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go like play video games for 12 hours today. Like, what are you gonna teach them? The best combos to do in Smash Brothers? Like, is that their curriculum? Beat the bots on the hardest difficulty to graduate. Like, I don't get it.
Or unschooling is like a branch of homeschooling minus the schooling. This website says it's an educational philosophy that relies on a kid's innate curiosity and desire to learn. In families that practice unschooling, students do not attend school and do not follow any set homeschool curriculum. So they typically don't have any courses, they just go about their day, and if the kid happens to ask a question like, hey, what's math? Then the parent would explain it and try to teach in the moment, which relies on the kid to ask really good, insightful questions all the time, which they usually
kids are so
do.
known for.
Mom, why is my booger purple? Also, during which year did the French Revolution end? She goes on to show us an example of the unschooling her son has been doing.
My son's 6 and it took some patience, and not comparing myself to other moms, but this is his book. Look at this. Lamp, egg, jar, lion. This is him doing this by himself.
So
No, the fuck he isn't. Also, 6? Honey! What? It took it. Oh my god, bro. Is he walking yet? Is he walking now? Or are you waiting for him to learn that on his own too?
her son is 6 years old, and this is seemingly the first time he's ever written words down. All of the top comments are pointing out that this isn't very advanced for a 6-year-old, and I don't have a way to gauge whether it is or not, so I asked my mom, who homeschooled 5 kids. She said, well, there are way too many factors to consider. Are they a first child with a stay-at-home mom? Is their birthday at the end of the year? Then wrong there. That's the wrong there, mom. Yeah, that looks about like I would expect a 6-year-old to write. That doesn't seem extraordinary. And then, of course, she closed it out with the smirking emoji because she thinks it's just a regular smiling emoji, and I am not going to explain to her why it's not. But regardless of skill level, I don't know that this can be called writing, not because of how it looks, but because she mentions he's been going around the house and copying these words down, so he can't write them from memory and probably doesn't know what they mean. He's just mimicking the lines of the letters.
Yeah,
so this is more like drawing. She's also
is.
said that they teach in moments exactly like this. This is where they would educate, while the
He's gonna like see an A, B, or a C, and he's just gonna think it's fucking hieroglyphics that'll have their own meaning. Like, can he speak yet? Can he speak? What's the usual age where a kid can speak? Like, does he make noise at least? Or does he not know how to do that yet either? Like, what are you gonna wait for before you have a wake up call and go, oh shit, my kid's dumb?
kid is showing interest in the topic, but I don't think she did that.
This is him doing this by himself.
From what we can see, they didn't go into any more depth. There isn't any more writing aside from what he put there initially, so they didn't turn it into a lesson and have him practice. But they did stop to make a TikTok, so while he's not getting a proper education, at least his parents are using him to become social media influencers. Phew. My light just...
And my big fear about free schooling was that if my kids only went towards what they were interested in, saving all of their real estate only for things they're interested in, not cramming it with anything necessary, I was concerned that they would never be interested in things like reading and writing and math.
To counter this fear, have you tried teaching them reading and writing and math? It's really good for kids to learn at this age, and he clearly wants to. If you don't make an actual plan to educate them now, this is the level that they're gonna stay at. The motivation is only gonna decrease. Okay?
Oh wow, and they're 6 writing basic words and probably can't even pronounce them. That is insane. The thing is like, I understand what she's talking about, where she says, oh, I want them to have more real estate in their mind for things they want rather than just shit the school wants to teach them. One problem, that is a insight that I agreed with when I was in fucking nursery. When I was in like elementary school myself, I was like, why can't I just spend my time learning what I want to learn instead of math and science and stupid stuff? The thing is that from like elementary all the way up to high school, you're not really learning the curriculum. You're learning like the experience that the curriculum gives you. Does that make sense? Like you're learning the time management, the social skills, the problem solving, and all those random little things that help you in other scenarios. Not just what 2 plus 2 equals. Like, that's not the real important part. It's the ability to get to the end of something and do something. And on top of that, if you cannot have the time management skill or the ability to take part in your interests on top of schooling, at 6 when your homework is labeling a fucking llama, oh my god, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because you should have the time for both of those things.
Timmy, you want to learn about the alphabet now? Egg. Timmy, it's not cute anymore. Egg. Timmy, you're 17. Egg. But something Timmy would want to learn about is today's sponsor. Timmy.
This video is sponsored by Opera.
Whenever I'm editing on a time crunch, I have a tab open for music.
I already use it.
Also great because you can control your music and check messages without having to open more tabs or close out of the browser and get immediate answers about math sometimes too.
Same with addition. Mom, what's 7 plus 5? It will come at the right time.
Why does she pause like this? The stare that she does is so scary. If my mom looked at me like this after I asked a math question, I would never ask one again. But maybe this is a one-off. Maybe she was just really excited, and typically she does turn questions like this into a teaching moment.
When you say that somebody's bad energy and you don't like them because they're bad energy, what you're really saying is that they remind you of yourself.
What if that was a teaching moment? What if they were about to ask what trigonometry is?
Mommy, I'd like to learn about the French Revolution. Shut the fuck up! Sorry, mother. What's the intent? What are you doing here? What are you trying to accomplish? This is doing nothing.
She doesn't push her kids to learn things like reading and writing. She does make sure to give lessons on the really essential things.
There was a god named Kronos, and he was so afraid that one of his babies was going to take over his kingdom that he said, every time one of my sons is born, I'm going to eat that. I'm gonna eat my own son.
Learning the ABCs? No, we're too busy learning about cannibalistic deities. It's more important, and Kronos is really cool. He kinda ate. Her child is asking questions here, but mostly because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Why is he gonna eat his own son?
Because that's the nature of chronological or Kronos time.
Man.
So he's gonna grow up, he's gonna figure out sex by, asking questions first, of course, because that's what unschooling taught him. 9 months are gonna pass, he's gonna have a child, right? Bear with me here. 9 months are gonna pass again, after doing it again, he's gonna have another kid, and he's gonna eat his fucking child! Like, what are you what are you trying to teach him? Eat babies! Eat babies!
This child is not learning anything from what you just said. Even if this kid understood what that answer meant, it wouldn't be an answer. Because her answer was that's just the nature of chronological time. Just because it does, that's how it is. You can tell he's completely lost, but it doesn't matter because this lesson isn't for his benefit, it's for hers. More specifically, it's for her business's benefit because she promotes her book and website at the end of it. On that website, you can get some of her free audiobooks, or you can enroll in her school workshop for money. So she can.
So you want to teach us how to do free schooling paid? Yeah, no, sure, I can do free schooling, no problem. It's called hopping onto just Fortnite and playing that for 10 hours a day and totally ignoring the kid crying in the corner. He needs to be fed. Pick up a pan and do it your damn self. 10 girls regressing in her hairline like that.
And teach, but only if you're a paying customer. Maybe your kids would be able to read if they weren't so broke. Oh, you want to count to 100? Why don't you put 100 big ones right here first? Let's start there. One of the key points in unschooling is that the kids learn life skills and not just scholarly ones. For example, how to cut vegetables.
I'm amazed. Technique, baby.
With an actual sharp knife. They have safe knives for this.
Is the point of this to prove that unschooling is effective here? Because to me it just proves that over the course of 4 years your child developed fine motor skills, and I don't think unschooling is responsible for that. If anything, they should be way better
I did the same
at this.
shit in elementary.
If they're at home doing it all the time, they should be Zorro at this point. She's got a literal baby waving a knife around, and the only warning she's giving is in a sing-songy voice.
If you cut your finger wrong, na 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 na. So be careful, my baby.
This kid does not have the motor skills or the mental capacity to understand how dangerous this is, especially when she's acting like it's a silly thing happening. I'm gonna go in that door. Don't go in there. Whoa, why not? It's very dangerous. You will probably die. I don't know, it sounds pretty awesome when you say it. Your demise is imminent. Those seem kind of important though. If only I could read. While I was looking into this account, I stumbled onto another unschooling mom.
Day one of unschooling, and I've got my kids helping me to clean the car out. Teaching them
Unschooling? Nah, free labor. Welcome back, Industrial Revolution, baby.
hard work.
We liberated them for nothing.
You love, that you need, and also needed the car cleaned.
Oh, so like chores. You're educating them by having them do regular house chores. You can't claim that cleaning the car and learning hard work is an acceptable replacement for actual curriculum. Cleaning and taking
Especially since usually these things would be topped on with the, schooling part, because you do school and you come home and you have chores. So what you're having your kid be like a full-time chore doer? Like, woman, what?
taking care of things is something that kids should be learning on top of their regular education, not instead of. This parent said she pulled her kids out of school to do this because she was unhappy with the public education system.
We have 52 days until I pull my child out of public school and start unschooling him. Lots of hands-on stuff to teach him these things, not just reading out of a fucking book, which is what's wrong with public school. So,
And while yes, there are a lot of things wrong
I want my kid to be illiterate.
with the public education system, I don't think that books in and of themselves are what's wrong with it. Books are usually pretty helpful, learning-wise. Not to be controversial, I don't know if she had maybe just a personal bad experience with books. You've got a lot of nerve showing up here.
It's been 5 years. Just let it go.
Let it go? You stole my college application essay.
Not this again.
I didn't get into Yale because of you.
I was in a bind.
Give me my paper back. And again, none of these are actual lesson plans. This is just hanging out with your kid, which is important, but so is being able to read a ruler. Very weird hat. Or even knowing what a number 2 pencil is. Why do they call it a number 2 pencil? Why don't they just call it a poopy pencil? She also claims that going to the grocery store qualifies as an unschooling lesson.
Now they're gonna go grocery
So just more labor. All these moms give the same vibes, like Karen but evolved. I think it's like Karen but devolved, you know? Because yeah, sure, Karens are complaining about mask, but at least their kids can fucking spell mask and say it too.
shopping with me, and we're gonna learn about reading labels. We're gonna learn about math and money. When you're buying groceries, you need to make sure that the quality of it is good. So turn it over. See the prices on them right here? You typically want to make sure that you pick the lowest price.
These are just regular life skills that you should be teaching your kid whether they're unschooling or not. And how many times can a trip to the grocery store count as school? Because after a few, they're probably good to go, right? And next we have Timothy, graduating with a bachelor's and putting things in the cart and a minor in not buying rotten strawberries. Thank you. They said I couldn't do it. F the haters. Look at me now. When explaining her
Very proud of you,
unschooling
Timmy.
plan, she
Very
said the
proud.
main things she'll be focusing on are starting a garden, great, and that she's going to be teaching them how to establish boundaries. You should be doing that already. And she's going to teach them how to bake and cook. You should do that already. And also sports.
also gonna be doing lots of sports. So he'll be
And
in
schools can teach
any
you these as
sport,
well,
every sport that we can possibly
if not
think
better.
of, because we will now have time to do so.
Because
Okay,
people
so
doing
now
it
that
are
we've
trained.
listed all the extracurriculars, what are you going to teach them?
I'll be taking them to the aquarium and zoos and learning through life experiences.
So field trips!
They're gonna learn through life experiences, kind of like everyone else who is alive. The only references she makes to actual school subjects are like this.
Day 2 of unschooling, and we're at the park learning how to have fun. But before you get your panties in a wad, listen. Yes, we're going to be doing reading and writing and math and maybe science, but it's not going to look the same as traditional public school. It's going to be different.
These are just things that you should have mapped out before pulling your kids out of school. I never do anything for my kids without a plan, and I have 2 billion of them, and I make sure each and every one of them has a bed made out of galvanized steel with eco-friendly wood and a mattress that I borrowed from my aunt. Based on some of her older videos, it seems like she made this decision due to personal issues she was having with her kids' school.
The other day, or a couple weeks ago, she sent home in his folder a piece of paper that had a signature side and a date side. And she told him, didn't say nothing to me. Told him to tell.
Yeah, because your child should be entrusted to be able to bring information from one point to another. She talked to the kid and not me. Yeah, because your kid is trusted. That should be a good thing. And he should be able to do this. It's a trust thing.
Tell me I needed to take his homework out of his folder every single night, sign and date this piece of paper, and send it back to her every single day.
This video has been deleted now, but she's complaining that her son's teacher asked her to sign and date his homework every night, which is usually just to show that you're involved in your kid's schooling and that you understand what they're currently doing in school. And of all the things you have to take care of as a parent, this seems like one of the easiest ones, but she literally refused to do it.
She called it power trip.
I took that piece of paper out and I said, I'm not doing that, baby. I run a massive business through social media. I don't have time, literally.
I run a massive business for social media. Her TikTok handle was Crime with Sarah. What are you, a fucking podcast? Honey, you read for a living. Your kids can't do that. And you want to tell me what you do is impressive? Okay.
I don't have time to help with my kids' education. However, I do have time to be completely and solely responsible for it. What's really sad about this is that her kid clearly wants her to sign. He makes a comment about some kind of reward system they have, some bonus he gets, and she can't be bothered. But isn't the point of unschooling to put your kid's individual needs first? Isn't the argued benefit that your teacher is your parent who knows you really well and has your individual best interests in mind? If you couldn't do that for literal seconds every night, what makes you think you're going to be able to do it 24/7 every single day? For some reason, she titled this Teacher on a Power Trip, and the teacher is just asking her to do something that probably all the parents are asked to do. It's a very simple instruction, and I thought that those were important to her.
Teaching them how to follow instructions.
Those who can't do teach, I guess. The way she describes her unschooling plan just sounds like a pretty immature grasp of what it's gonna take. It's almost like the kid is the one who came up with it.
Okay, so first we're gonna go to the park.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go to the swimming pool.
Then we'll do school.
I'm not done. Then we're gonna go to the grocery store and buy 500,000 Go-Gurts.
How is that school?
It's math, bitch.
Another concern people had with her unschooling was her kids
I'm gonna teach this motherfucker gravity when I push out a window.
losing the socialization they get at school. And her response was, oh, they don't need that actually.
We don't actually need socialization skills.
Says the TikToker who needs socialization technically when going through comments and interacting with people on her platform. You're socializing right fucking now on a social media platform! Ah!
We need to know how to communicate, which you can do with your parents. We need to know how to connect, which you can do with your parents. And those are skills that you take for the rest of your life.
But you're socializing with one fucking person. There are more than one type of person. Not everybody is gonna be like your mama. More people are gonna be smarter than this bitch.
To make friendships.
All of the things she's listing are things you learn from socializing. We don't actually need socialization. We need to know how to socialize, how to be social, how to interact with people socially in a social way. Her argument is kind of that you can get all the socialization you need from your parents and don't need to hang out with kids your age. And she believes that going to the grocery store is also a form of socialization.
If you only need your parents to be social, then why are people who have a loving family depressed and lonely? Any takers to try to answer that? Oh, because there is none. There are people need people. You fucking, is your hair dyed? You blonde bitch. What?
So many ways you could teach your child how to be social. Take them on grocery shopping trips. Take them to go to the zoo, and teach them how to talk to people. Lead by example.
I had no idea that going to the grocery store was so beneficial. It's a math lesson, it's a social visit, it's kind of a one-stop shop, I guess. She also has this video, which isn't a great sign.
If the worst thing that happens to my kids from unschooling is not knowing how to socialize, I think they'll be fine. I never leave my house and don't like people either, but I'm still happy and successful.
And if she's leading by example,
lead by example.
Something tells me they also won't leave the house a lot. And it's kind of hard to practice the unschooling method and learn through life experiences when you aren't having any experiences. But I'm
I get it. Neats.
I'm sure they'll never get tired of hanging out with their parents or struggle to connect with people their age in the future. Hey, you want to grab a drink with us? If we go to Applebee's, I have a coupon. Oh, we were thinking like a club. Ooh, love a good club. Very hard to get the mayo right though. No, like dancing. Now you're talking. Why are your pants so high?
What happens when you send your kid to a classroom for 8 hours a day? That is outside influences impacting your child, because what they're going to learn isn't just coming from you. Beliefs that they're going to have aren't just coming from you.
Isn't that a good thing though? Your kid shouldn't only believe and think things that you think. Shouldn't they get a bunch of different opinions and beliefs from people and get a variety of perspectives? If your idea of schooling is making sure that your kid thinks exactly like you, that sounds less like education and more like conditioning. And unschooling is supposed to be about specializing your kid's education based on their specific ideas and interests. You can't tailor education to an individual if you don't see them as an individual. Also, the successful business she keeps referring to is a pyramid scheme.
I'm very proactive inside of my profession and my career of being an entrepreneur. They're likely going to follow that path because they're going to see how successful.
So, at least she can teach them shapes. A little bit of this reminds me of how I was raised. Again, I was homeschooled. You probably didn't know that. Just kidding. It's probably the only thing you know about me. Sorry, okay? Sorry I'm so mysterious and suave. Sorry I'm so shampoo coated. But my homeschooling wasn't really in an attempt to make me more prepared for the world or because I couldn't necessarily handle a typical school environment. It was more because normal kids are secular and besties with Satan. Sometimes they say things like, hey, you should smoke this, or fart, and both of those are equally as bad. The sole reason for my being homeschooled was religion and being able to limit the amount of interaction I had with the outside world, whether it be people or media. I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies until I was 22. Just imagine being told you're not allowed to watch Jumanji, the Kevin Hart one, as a tax-paying citizen. And I think I would be better at a lot of things if I'd been able to interact with people my age before I was basically in my 20s. I missed out on a lot of skills, like how to interact with people, how to not perceive every human being as a potential threat, how to order a milkshake at Sonic without breaking down in tears. Isolating your kids and making yourself the only presence in their life is probably less about what's good for them and more about what's good for you. And it's completely normal to have anxieties about where your kids are or how outside sources are going to affect them, but that doesn't mean that you should stop them from interacting with outside sources at all. That just sounds like you have anxieties that are being passed down to the next generation, like an heirloom, like a little apprehensive piece of furniture. You okay, man? Yeah, just some chest pain. And I'm not saying you shouldn't homeschool your kids or do alternative schooling, because I'm sure a lot of kids would benefit from something like that, but just don't do it bad. Just do it good. Otherwise, your kid's gonna end up like me in 20 years, and you don't want that. That is a threat. Anyway, guys, I gotta go to the grocery store for the 5th time today, so I gotta go.
Yeah, you're listening.
Fiction is true the same way numbers are true, I would say. Like, you know, if you have one apple and one orange and one banana, the commonality between all of those three is 1. And you might say, well, is 1 as real as one fruit? Is the abstraction 1 as real as one fruit? And I would say, it depends on what you mean by real, but representing things mathematically and abstractly gives you incredible power, and you could make the case that the abstraction is actually more real than the phenomena that it represents.
Yes.